Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Sorry about that. Just making sure the mic's working, as we've had a few false starts in the previous weeks, but it is working now. First time is finally up to date. But no, welcome back to Pedcast. Happy to be here for episode 9. Happy to be here on another Friday evening as well, giving you this lovely content, as I know everyone loves and enjoys. Obviously, if you are watching along on Spotify or YouTube at a later date, welcome to you too. Thank you for coming to my channel. Make sure you're watching all the videos before this, because every one of them builds up to each other, really. This is the first one that we'll be having with Mr. Biggles, and it will be the first one that we really talk to somebody who's a little bit more, into a different part of the industry than just playing or owning an organisation or being, a competitive player. Biggles is here because his voice and his acting skills are amazing, and he's able to put on a show. Isn't that right, Biggles?
Good evening. I am. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. This is my first podcast. Well, it's a Pedcast too. It's the first one ever. Episode 9. So I'm looking forward to any of the questions or whatever, how we're going to pan this one out. But yes, I like how you put me in that gaming chair. That's very nice. So got my back to you, butt, mate. I should be facing the other direction. But yep. And the room. See that? It looks like a kitchen or something that I might be casting from here.
Well, yeah, now you mention it, there's a sink in the background. But I did search up gaming backgrounds on Google, and that's what came up. So yeah, I had to go through, the amount of pain I had to go through just to get that image in a PNG format, just to put it in Photoshop, then I have to figure out how to get it in there. Oh, mate, so much effort. To be fair, the easiest thing to do was to flip your logo to face me. To be honest, that is probably one of the easiest things to do, because it's literally a button that does it for you. But
exactly,
no, I did the hard part.
But you put effort into it, my friend. You can see.
You're
slugging it out behind the scenes.
The chair is the same colour as your logo outline as well. So
I would have to have a chair like that. I don't have one here, but that would be a good chair for me to invest in.
Probably get one quite cheap as well. A razor. Ooh, green. Love the green. But no, without going off on a tangent, we'll talk you through the podcast topics of today. As usual, we're going to be following the same sort of format, asking different questions, obviously, because Biggles is a caster, host, comedian, although some may disagree with the comedian part. And you've also done a lot of musical theatre work as well, Biggles. So, you've got a lot of jack of all trades in the online hosting and talking world. So it's good to get you in here. So obviously the question's going to change. So rather than player background information, it's just going to be Biggles background information. We're going to talk about who Biggles has worked with in the past, what games Biggles has been involved in as well. And that'll go on the background information. So we'll have a really big background information. And then we'll go for topic 2. And that'll just be organisations worked with, and topic questions based around them. Topic 3, achievements and ambitions can stay the same. But we're going to add a topic 4 in, which is sort of going to come into the rest of the topics. And that's just going to be about, the journey Biggles has taken to get where he is today. And then topic 5, one of the other questions, we always like to finish on some fun little stuff, Biggles. So it's, basically, do you like this or do you prefer this sort of questions? Tea or coffee or, cigar, cigarette sort of thing. Well, that's not going to be asked. We are PG on this channel. Therefore, we'll not be promoting the sales of any tobacco products just before we start. But no, without further ado, Biggles, let's take it into numero 1. And that is your background and information, my friend. So Biggles, how old are you?
Oof. Old, my friend. Do I have to answer that question? Somewhere between... Jeez, I'm not as old as Greybeard, but put it this way. But between 40 and 50. How's that sound?
2040 and 50.
No, between 40 and 50. Somewhere in that decade.
Ah, right. And Greybeard's obviously over 50, isn't he? Yeah,
Greybeard's over 50, I think. Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, you're cracking on. You've had a long time to experience things. So, how did you come up with the name Biggles then? Where's that name from? Where did it originate?
A few laps around the sun I've done. Yes, Biggles. That's a good question. I think it's kind of a combination. There was a Biggles character, I think, in comic books. Used to be a British flyer or something, like pilot or something like that. And I just like the word from that. You got to pick yourself a nice alias to use online.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like, no, that works. Not many other people are using it. Once again, so bang, just work with that. There you go.
Was there any previous names before Biggles, like a stage name before Biggles?
No, there wasn't actually. I've been using this one for some time. At least 20 years or something like that. So that's it.
So you've been using that name longer than I've been alive. That is
yes, that is correct, sir.
That is scary. Yeah.
Yes,
Damn.
that is scary. But what's scary is the talent that's out today with you guys, with your casting and stuff like that. You're making us
Gen
old guys
Zs.
look bad.
Yeah, it's like with Photoshop as well. So I know, like the people I work with at work, they learn Photoshop skills. I think I've gone on about this another week as well. They learn Photoshop skills in university, but now I've literally gone and learnt that whilst playing games and doing Rocket League and looking at myself. So obviously, they can only be taught what is known at the time, and Photoshop expands and adapts and advances through different things, makes it tools easy to use. So it's like I can just do work that they couldn't do when they were at my age because they had to go to a uni course to learn it. So it's quite funny. But I guess that's why things do move on and improve in the world, and new inventions are made because people get smarter and wiser based off information that other people have found out. It's like a big building block, let's say. You build one block on top of each other. So we have got you oldies to thank for the expansion of the world, and we just take it to the next step. Those Gen Z people, as they like to call it, foldable phones. How about that? I want a holographic phone. That's one of the things I've looked at.
Oh man, I go back to the days of literally modem dial-up and before the internet. And actually, Adam, we made our own first webpage on a BBS system. So that's old school. When I remember using paint programs, basically just pick a color and draw it. It wasn't any of those, select this area and content fill and all that sort of jazz that you have right now. As you said with Photoshop, I can use Photoshop very easily now too. Just Google something, don't you? Just jump on Google and go bang. That's your answer immediately. Not like the days you have to go to a library and try to find a book about it. If you're lucky at that,
give me Wikipedia
to figure it out.
Yeah,
no Wikipedia then too.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Anyway, fair enough. That's my old school days, but yes, Biggles has been used that for some time.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, how did you get into to online casting then?
That's very interesting because you did mention, like, I've done theatre. I used to do a lot of community theatre than anything. Community theatre is fun because that way you're not obligated to be paid and all that sort of jazz. So you have a lot more fun. People do it with flexibility. So I was doing a community theatre here in Panama because of the fact that it's an English theatre, so I get to hang out with a lot of people who are in the entertainment industry. And obviously we do plays in English, and it's fun. So doing that a lot. And of course, a little thing called COVID came along. And Panama went to pretty tight restrictions, a lot tighter restrictions than what you guys did in the UK. We were only allowed out like twice a week for about 2 hours, I think, in your passport number or ID
it's
number.
like a prison sentence.
Yeah, it was just to go to the supermarket, because everything else is essentially closed. Supermarket or a doctor or any of those essential services. Aside from that, bang, you're stuck at home. So of course, no theatre.
Damn.
Tried to do a couple of online theatre shows that they did. Tried a couple of those, but the audience here wasn't as big into online. So at that point, I was like, well, I'm bored. So I'm sitting at home all the time. And then I am James Bigglesworth. My older brother used to read that comic. Oh, yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for that. I'll just read the chat.
Go. I mean, Vlem is like in his late 20s as well, so his brother must be around the trees.
I have to read those. I have to read the comics as I haven't. But yeah, and then at that point, I was online and I was just gaming. Just in some random gaming servers, I think Formula 1 gaming, something like that. And then some other people were like, come over to Discord. We'll chat on Discord. And essentially, I hadn't been using Discord at that point. So I was like, what's Discord? So I jumped up and used Discord and started joining some of these different platforms and servers and games and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, some people go, man, you sound like you got a really good voice. You should start casting. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. And then, bang, that's how it started. I got into...
When was that?
I started casting for One League. That was... only about 6 months into the COVID thing, I guess.
2021, 2020, which was it at the very start in 2020? Because it was March.
I think about 2020. That would be about right. Yeah, that does sound about right. Yeah, exactly. And just started doing a racing league first because I'm into Formula 1 and I was playing that Formula 1 game.
Yeah, I see that.
That's the only time. Yeah, and that's it. So from there, it kind of expanded, and then I wanted to get more into just not doing racing. I got bored with that sort of thing. That game, mind you, started breaking really a lot. And you were talking to me about before in the green room how Rocket League sometimes is a little bit messed up. My friend, this game was broke at some points in multiplayer. So anyway, expanded on to other games, obviously, a bit of Rocket League and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll definitely touch on to F1 as well, because obviously that's a big part of your career nowadays in casting as well. But no, I mean, yeah, as you said, I mean, especially in the iRacing scene, it's quite crazy because of how the equipment has came on and improved. Like, you can literally build yourself a perfectly decent stimulant to an actual race car with the perfect, recoil and all sorts of weird, like, I don't know, there's resistance, is there, that you need a certain amount of resistance, and the
Yes,
brake needs to
steering
feel
wheels.
right, and steering, oh man. Like,
On the racing rigs, my friend, they are a super. You can get, like, some people go out crazy, 50, 60 grand, They got 3 monitors or one big curve monitor. They have, it's called load cell pedals. So just imagine you can adjust the amount of brake pressure that you have, just like a real car when you push down on the brakes and that sort of stuff. And of course the force feedback on the steering wheel. That thing can really yank you around. Those steering wheels themselves are worth a couple of $1,000 just alone, not to mention, the rest of your rig. So yeah, people can go seriously huge on it.
Yeah, I mean, also people have gone. I swear, there's a guy who won the F1 online, and he's got to drive a race car around an actual race field, and he could do it because of what he's learned online. Because essentially, it is the exact same thing. It's just like, in VR.
Yeah, it's actually, believe it or not, it's now younger people that are growing up with the esports, like the iRacing, you have the racing simulators, and do kind of invest a little bit into it. They get that good now that they can, they are actually entering into real sports as they get older.
It's like that thing in Cars, isn't it? Have you watched the Cars movies when they went to Japan?
Yeah.
And they were doing the stimulant thing, pretending they were on the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that? It's like that was VR when it was
Yes,
first,
I think that was in the third one or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. The one where they went to Japan, and you have Lightning McQueen. He's doing exactly that, but obviously he is a car, and it feels like almost, they weren't too far off predicting exactly where the world was going, because it's gone straight to where people are jumping in these rigs, as you mentioned, and they're just flying about on cars. Like, I personally, I'm not into it, but maybe, when I learn to drive, it might be something that I'm more, if I enjoy driving that much, it might be something that I'm more interested in. I just think at the moment, it's too much money, too much unnecessary money for something I don't really think I'll play enough. Anyway.
iRacing's also being a sim where it's multiplayer only kind of thing. They don't really have any single player campaigns. They don't make it pretty like the F1 game when you jump into it, not even on a keyboard, you can have fun and beat drivers. iRacing is just a pure sim. So you need to have setups and all that. So you really need to have people help you. And on top of it, you can't do it on a keyboard. You can barely do it on a controller. You will need some sort of racing rig. Each of the tracks and cars are going to cost you like $10, $15. You got a monthly subscription. So
it's expensive.
I spent about $3,000 to $4,000 on that game, on that sim, and I've yet to do one single lap on it, driving ever. So I've had to just buy everything just for broadcasting and casting, because you have to do that as well. Yeah, that's what's crazy about it. So it does limit the amount of people that could do broadcasting and casting for it, because of that fact. You have to go out and spend a lot of money out of your own pocket, and eventually you get it back, of course, if you're doing paid casting, but it will have to take some time. And just another note I want to talk to you about crazy sports. One that I've really been into, I'm not sure if you've been into it, is the drone racing. The drone racing leagues start to really take off. Have you seen that craziness of people flying that virtual reality, those drones at high speeds through tight corners? You'll have to check it out, mate. That's something I'm also looking and interested in casting and
in person,
getting into their esports.
Online.
Sorry?
It's an
real.
Online game, or is it?
Well, they have an online game, but they're real life drone racing.
I've seen videos of people razzing around with drones, going through like these abandoned buildings and doing turns and twists and all sorts. They get to
they're the ones that are practicing for the real. Watch it if you check out the real DRL, the Drone Racing League. You'll see their entertainment levels through the roof. It's very, very entertaining. Yeah. It's definitely a lot of fun to watch. I was just watching him all the other day, going, "Damn, I need to get into casting this and stuff like that." And
I just feel like I'll
esports
waste
version
of
of
time. Yeah, I just feel like I'll waste me world away playing on that. But I'm not. I mean, hey, I'm all for new things. It's just at the moment, I've not exactly got the utmost time, so I don't bother with any of these new games, because I just think I only play Rocket League. I cast Rocket League. I cast a bit of FIFA and eFootball on the left and right. And
oh, there you go. So you do the other casting. I wanted to see if you did any. I'd be interested to listen to you casting some FIFA. You have to send me some examples of that, or post them in here. The
I think,
Twitch.
yeah, they should still be up as well. I do it for Esports Wales. And from that, from speaking to people at Esports Wales and doing those casts, you get more. And the thing is, if you can do FIFA, you can do eFootball as well. So they work quite well together. Obviously, it's a different game. There's a couple of different mechanics, but at the end of the day, you're casting football, and I'm a massive football fan. I support a team. I've gone for 9 years to watch football games, so you sort of learn. I mean, if you can cast Rocket League as well, it's much faster paced than FIFA. So you can just sort of drop down a little bit, and it's more of a color cast game, I guess. You're talking more about how the people are doing it. And just to explain to everyone watching before we get any further with this, because we are going to go more in depth on Biggles and his casting as well. A color caster is basically somebody who provides their professional opinion on to how a team's playing, how they should be playing, how they need to change to win, or how they are winning, or what they're doing to be where they are. Just basically providing analytics and opinion based and professional opinion based inquisitions onto the play. Whereas a play-by-play caster is, as it sounds, you are play-by-play casting. You're casting everything that's happening on the field. Basically, just say what you see in terms of Rocket League. Say what you see, exactly what's happening. It's on the right side. It's going to be passed into the center. A shot comes in. X, Y, Z. Just that sort of stuff. So if we do use those terms, play-by-play, color, throughout this cast and podcast, you know what they mean. And if someone comes in and they don't know what it means, they can go back on the upload and watch it. Now I'll repeat myself again. Don't worry. I like repeat.
Thanks for that. I didn't know. I do know them, but I always get confused sometimes. Some people always say, "Hey, what do you want to do? Play by play, color?" I say, "How about we just wing it? We see which you're better at and how we gel together with different people."
It's weird
and then do it like
that. In Rocket League especially, you never really stick. I think it's more in shooters where you stick to a role, or if you're in RLCS, they have it because they have specific analysts who do that sort of role anyway. But for me, it's like you hybrid between play by play and bubble, not bubble, and color. So you're going, play by play, but this team needs to start doing this better, otherwise they're not going to make it there. They're not playing as well as they could be right now. They're not putting enough shots on net. They're not getting enough pressure upfield. That's more color. Whereas if you're saying, they've got the ball to go into the center, blah blah blah, that's obviously color casting. So it's not color, play by play. So obviously, when you know it, you just need to remember it. It's just remembering that. I mean, I guess for me, it's like I'm always hybriding anyway, so I don't really care. And I guess I don't really have that on iRacing at all, either Formula 1 or any of the racing you do, because again, it's you play by play and colour, because you need to fill in gaps a lot.
Yeah, you are right on that one. Otherwise, you'll end up talking over each other too much as well, too, especially with this racing action. It's difficult. It's fun. I mean, there's also the difference between those. This is why I do like a lot of Rocket League casting, because to me it's a lot less stressful because of the fact that, especially usually our broadcasters, as you know, that's doing that broadcasting in the background, and you have both of your casters that come in, so you cast it. And we don't have to do much, just look at the screens. Obviously, you have to prepare your information, have all the more screens you have, all the information, backgrounds about the teams and stuff like that. Unless you already do well aware of them. But exactly, I get to chill. I can sit there and call the plays and the action all the way. It's generally not much of a match where you're having somebody go, 18 scores up, and the other team's 0.
Yeah, it's very rare.
It's a lot of fun for play-by-plays, as you know. You're only looking at a couple minutes per each round, and then you can go to game 7s. Whereas the racing scene, it can get exciting. Definitely gets crazy when you have so much of 30, 40 cars on track, and if you're also doing producing, you're also trying to follow all the cameras of each car at a time. You're also trying to see the accidents and events that have occurred. All this is happening very, very quickly. And later on, sometimes during a race, it might get to a bit of a point where there's not a lot of that action. So you kind of can have a bit of a yarn to your audience, have a bit of a yarn to your other co-host, co-caster and stuff like that. And that's what it kind of gets a little bit, I'm going to say boring, but kind of turns into I could call it a little bit of a podcast scene, because you're just talking about what's happening in world events or stuff like that. And anyway,
I get
I mean, differences.
If you have one person just running away with the race anyway, it's like, I know in the race I casted with you, the only race I've casted was about 5 cars got outed with a crash, and then
I can't remember when we did that. That was a while ago. Was it Formula 1?
Yeah. No, GT3, GT3,
GT3. Okay. Oh yeah. All right.
It was like the guy was about a minute ahead by the end of the race, so it was like, he's still first. He's lapping the last person. It was the stars were on him. But I guess when it's a closer race, it's a lot more exciting. But no, that's it. We'll have a look now, So this will be interesting for me because obviously you're a lot older than me and the people we've had on so far. Not to make you self-conscious. We're looking to get grey beard on, so don't worry, you won't be the oldest.
That's fine. Thank you.
Um,
It's all right. Doesn't matter. I'm like
but-
fine wine, mate. I age over time.
Fair enough.
Age well.
Yeah, but what was the first game you ever played and when was it?
Ooh, you mean ever? Ever?
Yeah. Well, how old were you when you played?
Oh,
and what was it?
that's old school, man. That's like a cassette. That's like, and in fact, it was like a cartridge. I think. Actually, no. My dad built the first computer to play a game. How's that? And it was like a Pong on a screen with little push
Was that
buttons.
it was like a massive like box. The ones with the.
it wasn't. No, it wasn't a
mate.
It was a small box. It was a really micro box. It wasn't that big.
How big
About
was
the size of a Go XLR or something. TV. Hooked up to a
Oh,
TV.
Fair enough. So the TVs back then were like squares, though, right? They were
Yeah,
like
that's what
bricks.
you used. Yeah, a lot of the times for your
Yeah.
computers, you'd hook up to a screen. It's cheaper, of course. That's the way they did it, so you wouldn't have. But some of the computers you had to buy. My brothers had a green screen monitor before they went to a color. I had two older brothers, so that made it kind of easier for them. And
green
my dad was
screen.
my dad was in green screen. It was a Amstrad had a green screen, and they.
How does that work?
I remember they were playing it in a room, like a little play office room thing that we had, and my brothers used to be in there playing. I was younger, so I wouldn't be allowed to play it as much, but
Yeah.
it was fun.
Really no. Yeah.
And
no,
my
I
dad
mean,
was in telecommunications, so he was working in a lot of telephone exchanges and stuff like that back in the day. They're not the switchboard operating ones after that,
Yeah.
and they'd have these switches and relays, so the telephone exchange would be crazy. It was cool for me as a kid to get in there. There's all this, wires and technology and all that sort of stuff. And
How old were you when that was when you played that first game? then?
6, 7, maybe.
Yeesh.
Yeah, really, really little.
It's probably
But I grew up with computers. I grew up with playing games where you have to load cassettes in, and then you'd load the game, and it'll tell you the loading thing. And sometimes it wouldn't work, and you'd have to rewind the tape back and load it. And then discs came out, of course, the big discs, the floppy discs, the 5 1/4, and then 3.5-inch discs. And so I've seen I had the luxury of seeing all the whole gaming industry develop up to this very day today, experiencing every single part of it all the way.
I guess that's pretty cool in a way. I mean, you get to see it grow. I mean, like I went to Insomnia Gaming Festival, and you get to see a lot of the retro games and stuff there. But obviously, me being me, I couldn't be arsed waiting in a queue. Like there was a massive queue for it. I was like, oh, fuck it.
I tell you
I'm
what, the
moving on.
games you appreciated the games more back in the day because come home from school, all right, and the first thing you want to do is jump on your computer and play.
Yeah.
And then you got to
It's
load
same
the
now.
game in, and loading it on the cassette tape used to take a while, depending on how big the game is. Like sometimes you'd have to flip the cassette tape and load the other side. So you'd load it in
Yeah.
any game you wanted to play. You have a joystick there, or you play it on the keyboard, mainly on the joystick. And then so 15, 20 minutes later or whatever, you might eventually get the game loaded. And at that point, you get to play the game. Games are a lot more difficult too, mate. Like, there wasn't so many like save lives and all that sort of
Well,
jazz.
yeah,
You
it's
died,
like-
you start again.
It's like COD Zombies in a way. Like, I mean, this sounds ridiculous because obviously you're nearly 3 times my age. But when I was about 9, 8, 7, around that sort of time, I used to play COD Zombies when I got back from school. Black Ops 2, Transit, on the bus. I don't know if you ever played that.
No, I'm looking it up actually. Quad Zombies?
Yeah,
Quad
COD Zombies,
Zombies
Black Ops
or
2, Call of
Quad
Duty Black
Zombies?
Ops 2 Zombies. Yeah. So you
Okay.
got on the bus with the zombie
Yep.
guy, and he not a zombie, a robot would drive you around the map. There's like different locations you could get off at, and you had like a box, and you open the box, and after 5 spins or whatever it moves. This box gives you guns basically, so you get that to get guns. It costs 1,000. So when you kill a zombie, you get money. You use that money to get guns basically, and you got to survive. It's like a sandbox, so you survive all the rounds you can. And more it gets harder as the rounds go on, obviously. So we used to play this game all the time. Like, it used to be the best game ever. We used to come home from school and play it in the dark, get scared, shitless over the zombies and the screaming and the sounds and the music, the eerie music they used to have on as well. It was the
Nice.
days where you sort of like, it's sort of, you just love doing that. And then I played it the other week, and it is nowhere near the same. It is boring. You get bored after 5 minutes. You think, fucking hell, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I played
exactly
this
the
5
same.
years ago, and I absolutely loved it. But now it's just like...
Yeah, it's because it's at the time. It's like if I go back and try to play some of these retro games now, I get bored after quickly. I won't sit there and invest any more time into it. But that's all we had at the time, as you know.
Mario. How can anyone
enjoy
Mario? You look at this, like the retro Mario, you just jump in
the retro Mario.
the same crap over and over again. Like,
well, that's because I think it is some retro games that I used to be really good at, like for kind of like that Mario and stuff like that. And so every once in a while, I go back and play it and just see how far I can get on one credit because
they were all like 2D games as well.
Yeah, 2D games. Yeah, mate, that's 3D games.
Tekken, Mario.
Although Star Wars came out and I was a kid, used to go to the big thing was going to arcades when you're a kid, you know, because all the games were there and there's so much and they're so good. They're the best graphics of games at the time. Yeah, and of course you're away from home too, so I'd go to arcades something on the weekends and stuff like that. My brothers and go crazy and then play pinballs and all that sort of jazz as well too, which is still popular today. Pinballs are, and there was that Star Wars game I remember that was 3D. You hopped inside it and you rotated the controller around. That was actually pretty cool. It was like 3D. Ish. We're talking about very poor 3D compared to today's. It doesn't look like Elite Dangerous or No Man's Sky or anything like that.
A bit more older. When I first grown up, because I have a brother who's in his 30s, there was a PS2.
Oh yeah.
And I played a game called Time Splitters. And this game, Time Splitters, and there was one as well, like called Smuggler's Run, which Rockstar made.
I think I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. They were both like crazy good games. You just love them. Again, when I was about 7, I used to play it all the time with my dad and my brother and all that. It's a lovely game, great game, brilliant to play. And then, play it now. It's like, what is this? Can't even do it. Like the PES on there. I used to just sit there for hours playing PES leagues. You play it now, I'm thinking, you play FIFA nowadays compared to this.
Yeah. Well,
what is this?
I love the early football games as well, too, like really early football games. I remember the one I'm playing. It's kind of like tiny soccer that I think they even have now on
FIFA 99 or whatever.
Yeah, and then the top down. But they were a lot of fun because soccer games have been around since the dawn of computers as well. But going off to that subject, with Rocket League, what I find is that it doesn't matter how like older people like myself or younger people. It's a big spread of ages, isn't it, across the field? There are people
there's like.
Enjoy Rocket League.
Greybeard, who's probably one of the oldest people I've seen. But then again, he did an episode of his podcast that he does, 100 MS Too Late, and he had all the dads of certain players on who are all the same age as him, and they all play the game now because their sons play it professionally. So they've all started getting into ranked, and there's a dads league, a Rocket League dads league. So it's like it's the most American thing I've ever heard. Typical America, you know what I mean? The fucking dads league. You wouldn't get that in England. Yeah. They'd all be shouting down the mic at each other.
Yeah, that's true. That'd be interesting, buddy.
Dickhead, you can't.
I got you. Yeah. when you be like embarrassed, but if you got beaten by your old man, like he starts thrashing you, and you've been playing, say, Rocket League for like 2-3 years, and all of a sudden your dad comes in there and starts kicking butt.
Yeah. Unrealistic these days, isn't it? With the new controllers, maybe with like one of the old joysticks.
What about playing it in VR?
Oh, I would never want to do that. I'm already bad enough on keyboard and mouse. Put me in the VR.
I already talked to people about that playing VR, and they always go,
it would be possible, but it's just like you need to have a whole car simulation for that as well. I think you need the glasses, and you need to sit down and control the car. Like, do you know, like one of those five.
I thought just for looking, wouldn't you still control the car with the controller, but just to look around, you'd use the VR?
Could do that, yeah. I could just imagine that. Like, imagine if you could see other people's faces in the cars. Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's done it. I've probably had to Google that one.
Give the fingers to him. Fuck you. Yeah, I'm gonna demo you. That'll be brilliant. It'd take toxicity in the game to a whole new level. Put it that way. Yeah, no. I think, could catch on. Wait until Japan lead with more VR stuff and we'll see where it goes. Definitely, there's Rocket League in real life, sort of. In like, the car, what are they called?
Remote control cars?
Derbies or whatever. What are they called? Demolition derbies. It's the one.
Oh, they do it with the larger cars and people actually inside cars?
Yeah. But they have football now. They put a ball in the middle and they have like a demolition derby for like the Rocket League. It's
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
hilarious.
I
Driving
think
around
Top Gear did an episode of that years and years ago. I remember them doing some crazy stuff like that with our
It's probably
driving
where the
cars to
idea
try
of
to
Rocket League was made.
yeah.
I'd imagine that was where, the idea originated from. But
Yeah.
no, it's mad how games are going to be changing. I think VR is going to be one of the biggest things. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Olympic lineup for esports, but it is, yeah.
Well, it's big. It's massive now. So it's filling out stadiums and stuff like that too, as you expect. I mean, they've been doing it in Korea for years, haven't they? They've been selling out massive stadiums. Esports been massive over there, and
Well, League of Legends
what's
and
helped
Dota
it
and that.
boost? Yeah, what helped it boost now, of course, was after COVID when everybody had got the lockdown, and that's when it kind of exploded once again. Everybody
the
got
money,
into it.
yeah.
There's nothing else to do. So
Yeah, the money in it was massive, a massive amount. But
and it's a lot cheaper than putting on real life sports events and things like that too, especially in the I'm in the racing part of it, because you don't have to have thousands of marshals and rent out a whole track that's expensive, sell tickets and all that sort of stuff. You just centralize in the stadium and then just have all your players there sitting in their racing rigs, and then you can broadcast it and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, again, like, it is in a way really, really scary how fast it's going, because it is going at unreal speeds currently, but at the same time,
It's powered by Unreal. Dun,
I'm
dun.
fine with the ride. Yeah, it's damn. But like, was your dad a gamer at all? Then did your dad jump on and play games with you?
No. He's the generation. He was a
brothers?
generation before. Brothers were definitely. Both my brothers are and still do.
Fair play. Did you ever
They
play
still
any games
game.
with them? Jump on.
No, because they're in Australia and I'm here in Panama, so the ping time and the times would be different anyway. But I think when my brother plays Battlefield and all that sort of jazz, he's got a top-notch rig, graphics card and stuff like that there.
Any games
So-
stream having a good rig?
My other oldest brother used to play. We used to do we'd play a lot of other stuff, racing games and stuff like that together. I haven't really chilled out much with him because he's got a wife and stuff like that, so it's less time to game.
Damn. Yeah.
That's what
Well,
happens when you get a missus and girlfriends and stuff like that. All of a sudden, you cut down severely on your gaming time.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, having a girlfriend for 2 years. Yeah, definitely does. But I mean, sacrifices you've got to make. I mean, I'd love to sit here and play all that. To be honest, there's days where I just sit here and I lose time, and I'm looking at the clock thinking, "Wow, I've sat on this game for 4 hours, and it's already, I've already got to go to bed." So I do think, like,
At least you get to
sometimes
play on. I barely get to
Yeah.
play any game. I don't play any of these games. I'm not good enough
Yeah.
on Rocket League and stuff like that.
I mean,
I'm horrible at
yeah.
it.
It's one of those, isn't it? I get back from work and see the girlfriend for 3 hours, and I jump on the computer. But some days are different. Obviously, some days are different than others. If something's going on, I'll jump on earlier or later or whatever. But I mostly fill it up with obviously my Rocket League stuff. I play semi-competitive. Well, I say that it's more just grassroots scene. So like Sunday League football, for example, and it's just a way for me to play a little bit more competitively than I usually do.
Well, you're seated now for RCS, aren't you? So just a little bit earlier today.
On the RSC, yeah.
RSC, sorry.
RC, yes. Not quite there yet,
Oh,
Biggles.
geez, RSC.
Yeah.
Get it right one
RSC,
day.
EU, yeah, you got it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, as I said, that's just another league to tick time. I guess I like that adrenaline you get. When you're playing a game, if you're two games down, you go to 3-2 and win, it's like, wow. It's
Oh, yeah.
Don't
The
get me wrong, though,
chargebacks. I like casting that too. I swear it's, on casting, I tend to always go for the closest games as possible. I'll go essentially for, I don't like to say the word underdog, but
Yeah.
the team that's not performing as well, and hoping somewhere along the line, even as a caster, to boost them so that you get it to a game 7 or a game 5 or, something that's nail biting. You
Well, it's
never
like-
want to see kind of a washout game.
Yeah, it's like football in that sense. I guess that's why I like it, because I used to play football a lot when I was younger, and it gave me that same adrenaline. So it's like you come into Rocket League and it's sort of keeping that competitive edge and that adrenaline rush and that that enjoyment. It sort of keeps it alive, which is quite funny because you wouldn't expect a game to be able to do the same thing as you actually physically running around and on a pitch and scoring a goal, for example. But it is nearly the exact same. What I mean, it's just like, and again, for us casters watching it, it's almost like you're sat in a football stadium watching a game of footy or watching a sport that you enjoy. It is that adrenaline rush, and I guess that's why as
absolutely.
casters we can sort of jump in and watch it any time. And I'm quite happy that we're able to do that. But you got to say, games have definitely improved.
Well, because the
along
players are
the
putting
years.
the effort into it. I mean, like with Rocket League, and I've said, especially if you're going in like a tournament's played perhaps almost in one night, day, and teams have to play a couple of rounds before they get into it. It's grueling. It's sweaty. They've been sitting there for hours and hours playing games, and then so you're sweaty perhaps on the control, however you're playing it. You're mentally getting exhausted as well. That's the thing. You're still like you probably get more mentally exhausted, I think, in virtual games than what you do if you're in real life. In real life, you'd be physically more exhausted, but mentally, it is like that. You've seen it before. Teams that kind of play so brilliantly at the start, and just towards the end, they're either getting fatigued or something like that, and they just start dropping off, and you're like, well, that's not them, is it? But that's most likely that mental fatigue. Yeah. So different levels of sport, but they are still sports. That's what people need to remember.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Parents are now understanding it too, aren't they? They're understanding that the kids aren't just playing games.
I mean, it's part of my job in real life, doing those talks and having those conversations with parents. Because the place that I work in esports, and they want to do a course, a college course on esports. So
There's a lot of them. A lot of schools starting to do that now, and having esports programs and everything like that, which it's fantastic because you've got to get with the fuel.
It's caught wind quite well. What I'd say is, though, obviously the education is still not there with a lot of people. So for me, it's just like I'm just going to tell them, this is what the course offers. There's a lot of people on board helping out as well, which is quite good. So it's like, as long as you know what you're talking about in the industry. Like myself's a prime example. I got great results in my GCSEs, my exams, and instead of going on to do more further education, which is the traditional route in England, I basically put my middle finger up to that and gone, you know what, I want to do this. And go into a job in esports because, experience in esports right now is the most valuable thing possible, with it being so new. So, I mean, no qualification's going to go, oh, Ped, you're worse than him because he's got the esports BTEC, when the esports BTEC's outdated and underwritten. Do you know what I mean? Instead, I'm learning the whole show, and I'm being able to put on. But don't get me wrong, there's some people who are benefiting well from the course. Some friends that have been on this podcast control esports.
That would be good for newer people coming in, I guess.
People don't know.
You already have that experience, so you don't really need to roll back to that. It was like going back to my day of computers at school.
It's all I've ever known,
as well. Teachers couldn't teach us. In fact, my friend and I, we started making a computer company. We sold computers to our teachers at the school. And we teach the teachers actually some of the stuff because we're right up with the technology, and the teachers weren't so much because they were just getting into learning computers to teach people computers and stuff like that. So I can imagine that's why it's very difficult to get older, more experienced people like to come in and teach these classes as well with that, because they're either going to be in the industry right now making money.
What they do is they shove like
or they're younger and the school doesn't really want to have somebody that's 16 teaching people that are 18 or 19 or something like that. That doesn't kind of pan out well with schools. But that is the realism of it.
Well, they've been telling they just shoved some 20-year IT teacher in there who's been doing IT for 20 years and call it the same. But obviously, it's a big difference. But I mean, that's part of the. It's different in different countries. Like America's courses will be completely different from English courses. In England, I think you can go in a little bit earlier than in America. But I mean, as I've said, you can learn anything that you learn in the course yourself. That's why I do my graphics myself and my editing myself. I'd rather not pay for these things. I'd rather not go to courses and pay for courses to learn these things. There's videos out there on the internet, or there's text documents which will take you by step. You just use them, you learn, you do it yourself, and then you don't have to spend a lot of money getting things you want. And that's the way I see it. That's why I do.
That's a good skill. That's a great skill to have, I think. Just rather than being. I was like, I like being a jack of all trades and a master of none. And then and it's also helping you getting jobs, isn't it, as well too, with a lot of this esports casting. Is that I know that for a fact with the racing side of it, it's very hard for them to get broadcasters, for example, to have all the tools to be able to broadcast the racing. Getting casters is not a problem. They just turn up there and somebody shares a screen or whatever and they cast that. But a broadcaster, you got to have all the tools ready. You got to have all the OBS scenes set up. You do have to do some like graphic editing to change the thumbnails, update the scoreboards, and have overlays and. It's the same thing that you do, and that's part of why you're getting more and more successful. And once again, you're still young, mate, so you've got this whole career ahead of you. You're going to have that advantage on a lot of the other people out there.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And it's just creative media, basically. I mean, that's the role I'm sort of filling with esports as well, being a main part of it, but we're also doing creative media. I'm doing a lot of that. So as I said, I do enjoy it. But no, I mean, we'll try and move on to topic 2.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're going to get someone
So,
along the line. Hey, this is a podcast. It's got lots of things to talk about.
One. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I mean, well, when you've had a career like yours, there's a long time along the way. But no, we'll go to just casting organisations and teams and whatever that you've worked for so far. So,
Jeez.
well, first of all, how many games, and list them please, have you casted?
Oh, that's interesting. Yes, well, racing games, there's a lot of them. I mean, generally, first of all started out in the Formula 1 game, and then there's ACC, that's another. AC and ACC are another racing sim, and then there's also, I can't remember them all now too. R Factor, iRacing. Believe it or not, Wreckfest is another one that they started doing a Wreckfest tournament, which I thought that was quite fun. That's not even really a serious racing game.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wrecking cars and stuff like that. But they do race around tracks. There are a couple more, my friend, but they just disappeared off my head for now because I haven't casted them in a little bit. But that's for the racing games. Now for other games, well, Rocket League, yes, as you know. I've had a go at Valorant, but I don't have it. But I've had a go a couple of times of casting that. That's fun. First-person shooters. I'd like to see if I could branch out and cast more of that at some point in the future. Also, got to get to know it as well, because to some of those games you can't, like Rocket League, you can jump in and kind of get the whole drift of it pretty easily. Doesn't take you too long. Takes longer to learn the terminology, but some of these other ones they're a little bit more difficult if you don't play them. What else? A couple of real life. Some of the studios and high schools and stuff like that where they set up the cameras and then they have basketball tournaments and volleyball tournaments for the high school teams and.
Oh yeah.
So that is streamed. Yeah. That is so that's broadcasted online.
Yeah.
I mean the casters cast over the pictures that we get, updating the scoreboards. That's fun. Done that a couple of times. I have to say that probably off the top of my head that would be about it for the games. I can't think. Oh, Carrier 2 Command. I've set up. That's another game. That's more of a strategy game when you're on a bridge and you got to work together and fly aircraft and torpedo ships and things like that.
Yeah.
We set up a tournament with that one because not many people were doing any tournaments. And so I was like, okay, let me see if I can broadcast it. So I went out and tried to do a very first broadcast in the tournament by having everybody's picture-in-picture views and all that. So it was a lot to do, but it was fun to do because I had to broadcast and cast it and make all the graphics, of course, and try to explain the game to people that never played it before as well. So that's kind of the things that I'm trying to venture more into as well. Like I was talking to you before about the robotic
drone leagues.
So the drone racing league, yeah, they have an online game. Now I've been testing out this online game and find a way of casting it. So if there's leagues out there, I can get a broadcaster and caster to do it because it's a new thing. So once you get in there and be the first, and you can grow from that, then you're going to be like your RLCS and stuff like that. Like you'd be the top one, top league, the top split for everybody to watch in the future. No. And other games, I'm still looking at other stuff. So keep my eyes out there. I'm not just exclusive to Rocket League or racing.
Yeah. No, I think I mean, I know I see you all everywhere basically. I mean, just trying to better yourself, and obviously we've competed in things as well, like casting.
Yeah, improv games and stuff like that. Casting games.
Obviously, you're supposed to be expert at that. You've had vocal coaching and stuff with all the.
Yes, my neighbor is a vocal coach. She's got degrees and all that sort of stuff. She's worked in Broadway.
Is this the same neighbor who's the lawyer, or is that another girl?
No, that's another. That's another. Hell, she's my neighbor in the city out where I'm living in Volcano at the moment. Is my neighbor's. Yeah, she teaches me a lot. Like she just drills through. I don't like sending my casting to her because she picks up on a million different things wrong, which is good, but because that's another thing, my friend, that is a little bit of a downside online when you are a commentator, is the fact that people are very, I think, intimidated or scared, frightened to give you advice, because I think that's crucial. You need critics, right? Like anything, if you're working in a job and your boss says, look, you're not doing this right or whatever, or if you're at school and your teacher says, you should be performing better at this, they're telling you, right? They're giving you criticism and helping you improve. In this industry, I find a lot of the time you don't get that from many people. Most people will just come out and go, great cast, you did great work, that sort of stuff, fantastic. But like, what did I do wrong? Like, how do I pick up on what, if I've said too many times because I'm pausing, it's a common thing that a lot of people do, as you know, as casters do. When they can't think of something, they'll say Now, I started doing that at first, and I went to my coach and I said, look, how do I stop these She's like, okay, this is what you need to do. Get a printout of all these words, put them up in front of your computer, words that'll substitute, and look at them. Slow down, pause, because it's usually your mind's going too fast. Your mouth can't keep up with the words, and so you pause it with the ums.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to pause and slow down, things like that.
Well,
but there's that coaching and that learning is something that I think a lot of people need. I don't know if they teach you that in esports classes, but that's the difficult thing. And once again, criticism. It's difficult to criticize people without somehow offending people, but you have to be criticized. I say, and I'm just lucky to have my coach next door. Where I don't, she does not. Well, she's not going to offend me because she's going to help me.
People just dotted about all over the show for you, I guess. It works well. No, I don't really have that. I mean, I did vocal coaching anyway. I was a singer in school. That's what I did for music. So it's like I already had that.
I tell you another good one, my friend. We've done some of these shows, but I recommend it to everybody to get out to your local theater, right, community theater and stuff, or any of your local theater groups, and do improv. Sign up for an improv class, even if it's not in front of a live audience, but they do improv classes.
Yeah.
And if you want to be in this industry, voicing, voiceovers, or acting, even, and stuff like that, it's going to help you in your real day-to-day jobs. Like if you have to stand up and present something in front of people, and you get stage fright, or one day you're going to get married, maybe, and you're going to have to stand up in front of your friends and families and do speeches and stuff. Doing the improv is going to help you with that a lot, and you'll have a lot of fun doing it. But you'll also help your way of how quickly your mind can flip between things, how it could search for the words and search for the tools that you need to be able to do it very quickly. Of course, when you're live entertaining, as you know, or 90% of the stuff that we always do is live. So things happen, things break, things don't go right, and all that jazz. And improv is kind of a situation that'll help you out with that. So I do recommend any of that for anybody. Sign up for those courses. If you can find free ones, go for it. Have some fun, learn. I guarantee you those skills are going to come into your life every single day.
You heard the man. Make sure you're improv. But no, I think we absorbed everything from that topic there. To be fair, we have got everything out of it. So I guess we can jump topics again. Just moving along. Don't want to be keeping you here all night.
You're right. It's afternoon.
Achievements.
I have to get.
There you go. You got coffee, so you got to eat. Got
achievements.
Achievements and ambitions. Then, I mean, let's just keep it simple. What have you achieved? What would you say you've achieved so far?
That's a very, very difficult question. Not something specifically like I won awards for many things. Like I've achievements for theater stuff, like best lighting, best set design, stuff. Actual overall achievements, I think, is just generally enjoying life. These life experiences of doing different things. I've had the luxury of living in various places around the world, working with different companies, running websites that have 1 billion hits a month that had online games and things like that. We also got a game that was in the App Store as a #1. Yeah. Those are things that are my achievements. That's we as a team. This is not me. There's no I in team.
Yeah.
But having the ability of flying around, managing offices as well, too, having staff there, picking out great people, working with new people, building up friendships around the world, getting to go to Google offices and hang out with Google staff members and all that sort of crazy stuff, Yahoo offices, Microsoft. That's cool. Although that's fun. That's it. I'd have to say my achievement. My achievements is just learning something new every day and skill sets and having fun and enjoying it and meeting people. As for the other one that you said, for ambitions, same thing. These are my ambitions, just to continue more and more in the esports world and have some fun with it.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, you've done a good job so far, obviously. How much in ballpark have you made from casting?
Not a lot to quit a day job. No, not a lot to quit a day job, unfortunately. I haven't really calculated it because I'm not on a level like a lot of people that are starting out and stuff like that, and they do want to quit their day jobs and they do want to invest more and more time into this and then hopefully get the rewards for it, so I can pay the bills and they can do it full time. I'm lucky where I'm kind of semi-retired, where I've built websites up over the years, and those websites are generating me income, so I can live off that income no problems without having any casting money coming in. Because once again, I started just casting during the COVID, so it wasn't ever planned to do this. It took my time away from the theater, but I wasn't getting paid from the theater either. It was a community theater thing. I could have gone on to do professional theater, but
Yeah.
it's different people in that industry as well too. They're not as fun to work with because they've got to take it very seriously, of course, because they're paying. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
of course.
yeah, I mean, it's increasing, but I don't. I also like. I think we're trying to talk about this. I also like to support leagues that don't pay, and not always and take every job that's not paid. A lot of the casting that I do is non-paid,
I
just
think
there for fun.
It's the argument that's going on in the industry at the moment with us casters. I mean, what I'll say is, for me to get to a position where I was actually able to be paid for casting for the first time, I had been casting for 2 years already. I think nowadays people come in and expect casting after 3 months of experience, and I think it's stupid because I don't think they've at all proved themselves yet as a caster. They've got no experience. Like, everyone has to grind through that experience, train to get where they are. Different casters have different voice, like I obviously, no one really has my voice in casting. I think there's one of the caster from around my area, and he won't cast the same way as me. You know what I mean? So in that sense, I'm lucky that I'm not one of the American casters, because a lot of them, for me anyway, from watching on my perspective, have the same sort of accent.
It's like us. I think those British casters all sound the same too sometimes. But once again, as you mentioned, it's the way you are determining the way they sound. But you're right, aren't you? Like, you can't just jump into the deep end of the pool before you can, if you can't swim.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, we try and get. I try and get paid. I mean, I've been paid over £1,000, probably around 1,300, from casting altogether.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Over a year.
You're still working, right, as well too.
Yeah.
So
I work alongside that.
Yeah.
So I get £1,000 a month, and I've got over £1,000 from casting. So it's like a side hustle. It throws extra money. It gives you extra treats and lets you buy extra things, and things like that. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast as well. Just get some extra revenue streams coming in, or at least expand the profile in some way. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for skills more than anything, and I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I enjoy being on air. I enjoy being live. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy meeting new people, and I enjoy definitely spreading my networks. Networking is one of my favorite things to do. It's so fun meeting new people. I've never enjoyed something more than talking. Talking is really easy.
And get paid to talk, isn't it? Fun, yeah, and also acting as well too. Because if you're on camera, you're also in the spotlight, and that's another thing, another skill too that people should learn and be taught. My coach as well too should tell me about all that, sort of keep your back up straight, do from your diaphragm and all this sort of stuff. There's a lot of that. Casting, I also recommend casting standing up if it's ever possible. It's not always easy for anybody to stand up because you got to look down on your monitor and reach the keyboards and stuff like that. But if you have the luxury of really getting into it, you'll be surprised how much your voice just comes out of your diaphragm so much better. It's like actors on stages and stuff like that. They don't sit down and cast. Most casters don't sit down as well. They stand up.
I've been taught to lift my diaphragm sitting anyway. There's exercises you can do because that's part of singing as well. When you lift your diaphragm up, as you said, it projects and trajects your voice.
Yep. Yeah, you would go from that background, don't you? Keep your back up straight and shoulders up straight and all that sort of stuff.
You got to sit up, and you don't put your head up because it stretches your neck and your vocal cords. You have to put your head down if you're trying to say something. Yeah, no, there's all sorts of things like that. And I guess it's quite cool. That's why singers and people who've gone through that coaching actually do better. But no,
this is the thing that you're talking about real quick. The fact that if you don't have that experience of learning and you jump straight into the casting and expect to get paid, well, that's not If you're getting paid to me, you're getting in a level where you're semi-professional or professional, okay? Because that people are investing money into you to put on a good show. So you've got to be able to be at that level first, I think, before you can start asking for money.
I'd say I'm professional, especially in Rocket League. I wouldn't say in FIFA or eFootball. I wouldn't be expecting payment, although I do get paid from Esports Wales, my guys, for that. I mean, that's just because they trust me because I do it for Rocket League as well. So it's like, I would say I'm professional.
Can I try that footy out with you one day? Would it be possible? I don't know, because I've never done that. That's one of the games I do want to try to.
Depends on if they need anyone. I mean, the reason they wouldn't is because they mostly focus on people who are in the UK. Because it's part of the Welsh Esports Association, so the only way it would be is if they had a dropout.
Or any league, it doesn't have to be that specific one, but if there's something else,
Yeah, I mean, the problem is at the moment that was my first ever gig for it, so it's quite hard. I don't really know many other people, and that's what the problem is at the moment. I need to find more people to ask, let me stream it. But when I find them, I'll definitely toss them your way as well.
Yeah. But I'm just still about test one
things.
time to do it. I don't want to. I don't think I'd have the time to do it full time, but I would just once I could try it, and go, how is it?
Pretty fun.
Is it fun?
Good spread the wings.
Maybe there is a league out there one day that's listening and says, hey, we're interested in starting one up and we need somebody. I'm like, okay, great. I mean, I'm helping out a Formula One league and I haven't casted a Formula One game in a little while, actually, because it's been broken or people are waiting for the new game to come out because of there's been cheating scandals and that sort of jazz as well. But they starting up a new league and they're like, hey, we're interested in somebody to cast, so I'm going to go out there and help them cast. And that's non-paid, just to help out these new upcoming leagues. Once again, like anything, give them a chance to get out there and have somebody with experience cast without them, because once again, we were talking about this, a lot of these other casters out there that are professionals and very experienced, they're not going to want to do it for free. Most of the time they don't want to do it for free, and that's another debate to talk about, isn't it? If that should that be right or wrong.
Well, you should
that's depending on their life and their schedule.
It's what I say about players as well. Like, if you've got nothing better to do and you ego a tournament because the prize pool's too low, then what are you on about? Like, you play a tournament to get better. Doesn't matter what tournament it is, you play it, because either way, you're going to win money. Like, money is money. And when you're 50 and you can't play anymore and you can't play against the best players and win, then...
Are you saying Greybeard won't be able to beat anybody?
Greybeard's not beating anyone anyway.
I didn't even know if he plays. But, he casts. But, yeah, you know what I mean. When you're 50 and you can't really do anything. I'm not even that age, mate, and I can't do it. Even a couple of years ago when I was playing Rocket League for fun, I was just like, nah, I can't get my head around how to do that properly. But that's what you guys are. That's what you guys do best, so leave it up to the experts.
Yeah.
I'll go a game of pool or chess or something like that with you. Probably beat you on those. Most people.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, hey, that's topic. That's topic ambitions and achievements. So I know you've touched a bit. Let's just finish the mainstream stuff off on this then. So I know you've talked a bit about your career in theatre and how you got into it. So when did it all start with theatre and stuff and traveling around the world? And when did your life start doing all that sort of jazz?
The theatre was only here in Panama as a local community theatre because I went to it one time with a girlfriend, and it was actually the first one I went to was improv. I got hooked because it's an old theatre building, and they have, as soon as you enter it has a porch on it, and as soon as you enter the building, it's an old clinic building from when the military base used to be here, and that's what was set up. It was set up. I had these zoney things, so in Panama, I used to have a zone area that used to be controlled by the U.S. military, so the local Panamanians couldn't really go there, and they handed that back in 2000 to the Panama government. But all these old buildings and all these retired people that were there in Panama kind of had nothing else to do that was in English because everything else was in Spanish. So they built a theater actually, who was Jennifer Anderson's father was one of the founders.
Right.
Yeah. As he was working in the military and he lived here. And I don't think she was born in Panama, but she certainly was here for a couple of years or something as a baby or whatever before he moved back. But anyway, so all these old American people that used to work on a base needed some community theater, so that's what they set up. And it has all these, it's great because it has all these old posters from the 30s, from the first shows in the 30s, like the playbills and stuff like that. So you go through all of that and you see all the plays that they've done all the years. That was good. I got hooked on that. So I did that for the time that I'm here in Panama. I haven't been doing it recently, but that's not my career. That was just a hobby. IT was my thing. Monetizations of websites, SEO, traveling around building websites, making money out of websites and that sort of stuff. And I still do, as I said.
Was that a remote job?
No, it was actually a lot of that was in the office.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know you were saying off screen that you've been around loads of countries. So was there any particular reason for that, or was it just because...
to set up an office. The company that I was working with would have me there and they go, okay, at the time, I didn't have a girlfriend. I don't have any kids and stuff too, so I can just get out there and do it. It's harder to relocate if you have a lot of those attachments. Well, so I would go, and they'd say, "Okay, come to Panama, and we need to set up an office. We're going to do a call center, so because you can get English-speaking people here. Okay, good internet, it's secure in the center of the country. US currency, tax-free for foreign companies, all that sort of jazz. So I went out there and started to hire people and get them in there and training them for the system. And then I had to go, let's go to Romania. So I wanted Romania because we can get some great programmers for some of the coding that we needed and some game development as well. And they are great programmers. They're some of the best programmers you're going to find. JP says, is that my favorite Australian out there? Yes, it is, JB.
So
I work with, of course. Go ahead. Yeah. And then that's pretty much it. And that's been also in the States as well, too. Been Las Vegas, Minnesota, and those kind of places setting up offices.
So you've been around the world then, pretty much. You've been
UK, Ireland. I lived in the island for a bit as well, too. You can understand the reason why the company wanted to set up an office in Ireland is because also to avoid taxes, a lot of that stuff, too. So the company I was working for, the guy's a multi-millionaire, flies his kids around in private jets. So you can imagine they're going to try to find ways of not paying taxes as much as possible.
Have you been to Malta then? That's where people go these days.
Malta? No.
Taxes,
Dubai, yes, and stuff. I lived in Dubai as well. Amsterdam. I think topic to touch on something when you say probably favorite countries or something like that to live in. I think we're about to talk about that in the green room. New York City. New York City and Amsterdam. Amsterdam favorite because I love to live because it's quiet and it's the people there are really nice. They're chilled apart from those British.
Smoke the devil's lettuce.
Yeah,
that's what Amsterdam's known for.
Exactly. It's all available there, and I used to hang up some of the locals. They're great. The British people and the foreigners, like all the Americans and Brits and all that sort of stuff that come in and party. They're the rowdy ones, man. They're the ones, kind of the ones that turn a really quiet city, really very quiet, nice city into
English,
like a racket
English
town.
to make it angry. Yeah,
and strange to it too, mate. Yeah. So that's I loved it, but it's also didn't have nowhere near the action of New York. New York City, I loved it because when New York City, we had an office in New York City, and a lot of all the guys mainly in the office are always younger. So I'd go out and hang out, and we'd go to so many of these crazy events that you go to where they'd hack together computer games and tennis is this event where you'd go there and you could just play games. I remember even one time in the National History Museum that they rented that and they converted the big dome, 3D dome thing that you go inside there with to use into a game that everybody inside the room was involved with. You had a crew and you had people in the engine room. Like it's like game hacking stuff and it like using regular game controllers and all this sort of stuff. Like these are just one of the millions of different events that you could do in New York, and you get everywhere you want on a train, cheap, on the subway. You don't have to have a car. You're always eating out. You don't really eat at home. Can you go out with your friends there? And as long as you make enough money in New York City, you'll be comfortable and you can get to have a lot of fun. So,
I mean,
I recommend that city to live in.
New York, is that your favorite place you've been to then?
I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
What was your least favorite then? On the opposite of that scale, or is it like there's not one that you thought I can't stand this place. I want to get out of it
Sydney?
as soon as possible.
Sydney, I didn't really like Sydney.
Home turf.
Yeah, I lived in Brisbane more and then Sydney, but nah, it's a big city. It's too hustle and bustle. People are upset. It's expensive.
It's like mainstream, isn't it? It's mainstream Sydney. It's one of the biggest in Australia, obviously. So is that why?
Melbourne's actually about to overtake Sydney, believe it or not, for population.
Well, isn't that because of the beaches in Melbourne?
No beaches in Melbourne. It's cold, mate.
Why do people go to Melbourne?
Cities in one. Culture. Melbourne's got the best restaurants, entertainment, and all that sort of jazz. I'd say for sure.
Is it like a tourist location, or is it where the Aussies go?
It is. It should be. It should be. It's got a lot more to do than Sydney does. Take it that way. Sydney's just a lot more expensive. Everybody goes into Sydney generally because it's, hey, got to go to Sydney, right? It's a bigger city. Well, Melbourne's got more to offer. Brisbane, where I kind of come from, is more of a large country town. So it's growing. It's getting that kind of like young vibe hype to it, but nothing. Melbourne for culture, mate. Classics and food. It's amazing down in Melbourne. Such a mixed culture of people. You just get a little bit of better every single thing that you can possibly imagine in Melbourne, plus the Grand Prix, and it's a sporting capital of Australia too, they say. You're very quiet, apparently, from JB, and he knows.
Yeah,
he broadcasts a lot.
I've tried to move it next to my mouth a bit more. I mean, it's because, obviously, with HyperX, it comes through the front of the mic, and as I said before, it's slanted a little bit down. I need to tape it back up a bit. So when that happens, it's easy as pie. But no.
You got the HyperX headphones on as well, too? You sponsored by HyperX yet?
Not HyperX headphones, no. It's just a cheap pair of headphones that my girlfriend got me for one point to disguise another present. But it's one of those. No. So, yeah. So, Well, that to me is all the mainstream questions. We just have one of the other questions now, which is the fun part of the show where you get to have some controversial, takes on certain things and have those things. And now I know a little bit more about the countries that you've been to and you've enjoyed. Then I can give you even better one of the other questions. So do you get the concept of one or the other? Do you think you get the concept? So like cats or dogs, sort of thing.
Yeah, I talked about that. Okay, great.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I got the concept.
Let's get on to it. So if you're in the chat and you want to give a question or one of the other question, please do drop it in there. It can be anything you want, anything you've heard from Biggles that you thought, I want to know more.
Do that.
Put it in there.
Don't encourage him.
So
is this going to be a speed run?
Well, yeah, basically.
Or not?
That's the idea of it,
Alright.
yeah. We just go through
Okay.
this one and hopefully keep it in 60 seconds so that we can take it onto a TikTok. There we go.
Oh,
No, so
okay.
cats or dogs, Biggles?
Dogs.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Hot chocolate or tea?
Tea.
Starbucks or Costa?
Starbucks.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's.
Ooh, okay. Chicken or beef?
Beef.
Sports or gaming?
Gaming.
Football or cricket?
Cricket.
Typical Aussie. Loving your cricket. Sun or rain?
Sun.
Too hot or too cold?
Too hot.
Fair play. No? I'm trying to think. These parts can be edited out. The middle parts can be edited out and we can just shoot right back with the questions. I'm just trying to think of more. Obviously, it's not an easy one. Let me just look at my sheet. See which ones are left. Okay. So, okay. Rocket League or racing games? For
Racing.
Racing. Okay. I mean, you gotta stay loyal, I guess. For playing, the same.
Correct.
Yeah, fair play. Do you prefer Rocket League or first-person shooter games?
Rocket League.
Rocket League. Gotta test the water a little bit. See where your levels of games are on like a time scale sort of thing. So Rocket League's in the middle, GT3's forward, and then FPS are more towards the bottom. I get it. I see them on a scale. So we've got some in the chat from JP, providing a lot of them. Hamilton or Verstappen?
Hamilton.
Ooh. Are you a big fan of the English lad?
He's struggled. To me, he's struggled. His family struggled a lot more to get into Formula One, right, and work their butts off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's a multiple world champion. So yes, that's the reason. Verstappen had a lot easier entry into Formula. He's quick, don't get me wrong, but a lot easier entry into Formula One with a father, of course, having all the connections in there. They didn't have to sell off basically everything in their family just to get a car to a track, like Hamilton's father had to do, and mum.
Yeah.
That's
fair
why I
enough.
like Hamilton more.
Fair enough. Brisbane or Panama?
Brisbane, because it's home.
Yeah. Does it always feel like home when you go back?
Yeah.
Fair
When
enough.
I go back. Yep.
Fair enough. Let's see what else we can do. Ooh, I had it in my head. Hang on, let me just try and scratch my head again. Oh yeah. Theatre show or live production show online?
Ooh, that's interesting. I'd say live online now.
Just based off you've been doing it more than you've been doing theatre recently, I guess.
Yeah,
Over the
it's
past
difficult
couple
on that
years.
one because theaters, it's a lot more people involved in that as well too. You're gonna have a team of 10 people and more. I think maybe to a question would be whether or not a theater show compared to maybe an in-person esports LAN event. That would be a
is
difficult
incredible.
one for me.
Because
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that.
Have you
I
ever
think
been?
I'd be very good at it. Never
Never
been.
been to a LAN event, no.
No. I will go, but I want to be a part of the production team because I think that theater experience can handle it. I know how to be able to program lights. I know how to be able to get up the audio there. I know how to do a lot of that stuff, even build the set if you need to. I think that's what would be a lot of fun to try to help with. And of course, you can get up there and cast too.
Well, you can do all that voluntary as well. That's the good thing. People
Yeah.
don't like ego. If you've got no experience, some people just let you in to do it as long as you're a nice person. You put a good CV in. No, I think no. I mean, a couple more in chat. F1 22 or iRacing.
iRacing. Yeah, sure.
And then
He knows that one.
Interlagos or Silverstone. I don't know what that means.
Interlagos and Silverstone. Yeah, Interlagos is the Brazilian track. Interlagos for sure.
Fair
Yep.
play.
Sorry,
Well-
Silverstone Brits.
Well, that's going to be it for this evening. I don't want to waste any more of your time. We've been here for a long time, and it will be edited down, so, all that stuff. We haven't actually had a break, which is pretty good. Usually I have to take a break halfway through because my voice gets too croaky. But no, we've managed to get right through. An hour and 20 minutes, so not the longest we've done. Definitely not the shortest we've done, so it's good that we're here. But thank you very much, Biggles. It's been a pleasure having you on. It's been a pleasure learning more about you, and I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy watching this video back, whether through YouTube, Spotify, or whether they've watched it live. I'm sure they'll tune in and watch it because it was a very good episode and a very good learning one as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's my first podcast, so much to be appreciated. Exactly. You did a fantastic job, and we'll continue to keep watching these, my friend, and continue to keep watching your fantastic esports career.
Yeah, thank you very much. But no, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that will be it for this evening. If you've liked what you've seen, you want to get involved yourself, you've got a story to tell, please let me know. I've got a Discord server for Pedcast, which you can click down in the link below. If you join that and just shoot me a DM at Ped #9687, we can talk about getting you on. We can talk about a date. I've got, I think, 9 episodes lined up already. A couple more needs confirmed dates. There's a lot more things to do here in terms of that. But no. We thank you very much for watching this one. This will all be put onto YouTube and Spotify, so if you've missed a bit, you can still catch up, so do not worry. But no, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very, very shortly. Goodbye now. Thank you very much.